Rome is packed with spectacular sights, and it's hard to figure out which ones to see as the entire city center is on the UNESCO World Heritage List.
Hi guys, my name is Rok and I'm a tour guide, and I can't wait to show you the best things to do in Rome, Italy.
The best place to start is Piazza Venezia, as from here every street leads to one of the main tourist attractions.
The square is dominated by a colossal white monument called Vittoriano from 1871. It is dedicated to the first king of unified Italy riding on the horse. As you can see, unification of Italy was a very big thing.
The square sits under one of the 7 hills where, according to the legend, twins Romulus and Remus founded Rome.
You should definitely climb up the steps, as from the monument you will get great views. You can also take a lift to the lookout point at the very top of the monument.
Rome united the entire Italy in the 3rd century BC, and for 700 years it remained a capital city of the Roman Republic. With the collapse of the empire, it took another 1400 years until Italy became united again and Rome was declared its capital city. On the top of the Capitoline Hill is a Renaissance square designed by famous Michelangelo. Its elliptical courtyard is surrounded by 3 buildings, and in the middle stands a statue of Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius.
Here is Rome City Hall with a clock tower, and inside 2 Renaissance palaces opposite to each other is a popular Capitoline Museum. On the left side of the City Hall is a replica of famous bronze sculpture Capitoline Wolf depicting the legend of founding of Rome.
Between Capitoline and Palatine Hills was the main town square of ancient Rome. This was a center of public and political life of the Roman Empire. Here are the oldest remains, buildings, arches and temples. Today, Forum is one of the most important archaeological sites in Italy.
Despite the destruction at the end of the empire, some of Forum's impressive structures managed to survive. One of them is this triumphal arch dedicated to Emperor Titus, who was victorious in the siege of Jerusalem. Another one is Temple of Romulus that served as an entrance to the church that is still in use. Remarkably, it still has the original bronze doors, one of just 2 Roman doors that have survived to this day, and they can still be locked.
As Forum Romanum was the most important center of the empire, the neighboring Palatine Hill became the seat of the imperial power.
Forum Romanum, Palatine Hill and Colosseum are part of one archaeological park, and for the best experience and access, you should get a combined full experience ticket valid for 2 days.
Besides Roman heritage, Rome also has world's oldest and most impressive churches.
This is the first church in the world built in honor of the Virgin Mary. This huge basilica is dating back almost 1600 years, and its mosaics are one of the oldest representations of the Virgin.
Despite centuries of reconstructions and expansions with different architectural styles, the basilica kept its original structure. Athenian marble columns predates the church, as they were reused from ancient Roman buildings. Mosaics of the central nave and the triumphal arch are original, dating to the 5th century. Unique coffered ceiling in gilt wood is apparently covered with the first gold Columbus brought back from America. Church is full of chapels and artworks and has a funerary monuments of 3 popes. Here is also the highest bell tower in Rome, marking the importance of this basilica. Rome has other churches built on the top of its hills, and in front of one of them is the most famous stairway. In front of the 16th century French monastery church is one of the widest, longest and most popular staircases in Europe. 135 steps were built in 1725 to connect church with the Spanish embassy, located in the lower Piazza di Spagna or Spanish Square, hence the name Spanish Steps.
Steps feature a regular butterfly-shaped design and have become very popular after being used as a backdrop in the 1953 Oscar-winning movie Roman Holiday. The best time to see Spanish Steps is on April 21st, when Rome celebrates the anniversary of its founding and the steps get covered with flowers.
Not far from the base of the stairs is a fountain with a sculpture depicting a flood from the 1500s, when an ugly little boat was stranded on this spot. But Rome has much more spectacular fountains and squares.
This is the most beautiful Baroque square in Rome, featuring 3 fountains. As you can see, the square is huge and unusually long. Well, this used to be an ancient Roman stadium used for athletics and horse racing, but after the fall of the empire, houses replaced the stands and the athletic field became a square.
Transformation to a Baroque masterpiece happened in 1600s when Pope Innocent X decided to build a palace for his family on the square. Famous sculptor Bernini created a central fountain of the 4 rivers. 4 marble statues around ancient obelisks represent major rivers of all 4 until then discovered continents. Small church dedicated to a young Christian girl, Agnes, who became martyred on this ancient Roman stadium, was rebuilt into one of the most magnificent Baroque architectures in Rome. Beautiful and lively square attracts artists, and the surrounding cafes and restaurants spread their tables around. You can even take a peek under the square, where are the remains of the original Roman stadium.
And in that beautiful palace in the corner is an art museum. But there is one small square in Rome with even more spectacular fountain.
The largest and the most famous fountain used to be a meeting point of 3 streets, hence its name 3 Street Fountain. Original fountain was built by the Romans, as this was the end of the aqueduct. Current fountain from the 1700s combines the entire front side of the palace with a triumphal arch and mythological statues. It is dedicated to the Roman god Oceanus riding a shell-shaped chariot.
The 2 horses are symbolizing the changing tides, as one horse is calm and obedient while the other is boisterous. Left to the Roman god is a statue symbolizing abundance, while the right one represents health.
The fountain featured in many movies, and thanks to the movie 3 Coins in the Fountain, approximately €1 million worth of coins are taken from the fountain each year and donated to a charity.
Fountains in Rome run all year, so you can also enjoy them in winter months. This spectacular fountain was commissioned by a Pope Clement XII, so now let's take a look at the beautiful castle with a secret corridor used by popes.
The Castle of the Holy Angel was built in the 2nd century as a circular mausoleum for Emperor Hadrian and his family. Due to its strategic position on the bank of the river, it was soon converted to a military fortress. With the fall of the Roman Empire, the castle changed many hands until it became part of the Papal States, and in 1870 it became part of Italy.
A legend from the times of a plague talks about Archangel Michael. He appeared on the top of the mausoleum, sheathing his sword as a sign of an end of the plague, and so the castle got its name.
Popes fortified the castle and connected to St. Peter's Basilica with a covered fortified corridor that came useful in 1527 when Rome was attacked and the castle served as a refuge of Pope.
Now it serves as a museum showing the history of a structure.
Castle is connected with the other side of the Tiber River by one of the most beautiful bridges in Rome. Each side of the bridge is lined with 5 angels carrying objects related to the suffering of Jesus. From the bridge you can see straight to the seat of the Pope, so let's take a look inside the smallest country in the world. Vatican City is an independent city-state surrounded by the city walls. Its 600 residents include the Swiss Guard that has been protecting the Pope since 1506. There is no border control and you can enter freely, but you have to respect a dress code as both men and women must cover their shoulders, upper arms and knees. Besides serving as a seat of the Roman Catholic Church and the Pope, the Vatican also treasures one of the world's greatest art collections inside the Vatican Museum. This is one of world's top museums with 54 galleries, where you shouldn't miss 120 meters long corridor titled Gallery of Maps, Raphael's room, once used as Pope apartment, and Pinacoteca with the collection of almost 500 paintings from the great masters. But the highlight is a world-famous Sistine chapel accessible only through the museum. Chapel was named after Pope Sixtus IV, who commissioned it, and was painted by the greatest Renaissance painters. Unfortunately, it is strictly forbidden to take photos or videos inside the chapel, although you can do it around the rest of the museum. Chapel is still in use for the papal conclave, where a new pope is selected.
Huge elliptical square framed by two sets of colonnades with statues of saints leads to the largest church in the world. Its impressive dome, designed by Michelangelo, rises for 136 meters right above St. Peter's grave.
St. Peter's Basilica was built over Apostle Peter's tomb, as he was executed and buried here by Roman Emperor Nero, who accused Christians of burning down Rome. When the Roman Empire finally embraced Christianity, Emperor Constantine began the construction of the first church. Original church was replaced by the present basilica in 1626 after 120 years of its construction. One of the greatest Renaissance architectures was designed by the best artists and architects, including Michelangelo and Bernini. Breathtakingly spacious interior of the church offers amazing attractions. Most impressive is Michelangelo's world-famous sculpture La Pietà. Also impressive is Bernini's 8-story high bronze canopy placed over St. Peter's tomb right under the dome. Interestingly, a bronze statue of St. Peter has his feet worn down by numerous pilgrims over the centuries.
Entries to the square and the basilica are free of charge, but to avoid long queues, you can buy skip-the-line tickets that I will link in the description below.
Besides the biggest church in the world, Rome also has the best preserved ancient Roman building in the world. It was built in the year 118 by Emperor Hadrian and still has the largest unreinforced concrete dome in the world. In the middle of the dome is a hole called oculus that enables visitors to be in direct contact with the heavens and serves as a source of light. Its name Pantheon comes from Greek and means devoted to all gods, as the temple was dedicated to 12 gods.
It is almost completely intact, as it has been in continuous use and since 609 serves as a Catholic church. Its grand interior is one of the most perfect spaces ever constructed, as it could accommodate a perfect sphere.
The height of the oculus and the diameter of the interior circle are exactly the same. Originally, the ceiling was clad with bronze, but was later removed and most likely reused for weapons.
But despite the small changes, this remains to be the most preserved Roman building and a must-see in Rome. Before we jump to the best thing to do in Rome, I would like to thank you for the thumbs up. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them in the comments below. And to be notified about my new travel videos, click on subscribe and turn on notification bell.
And here is the most famous landmark of Rome and the largest ancient amphitheater ever built. Massive, freestanding Colosseum made of stone and concrete was opened to the public in the year 80, and its 5 levels could seat more than 50,000 spectators. It hosted gladiator fights, contests between men and wild animals, and even mock naval battles as the arena could be flooded.
This very impressive structure even had a retractable canvas ceiling to protect visitors from the scorching sun. This iconic building provided games and fun for over 500 years.
In medieval times, it was used as a church and later as a fortress. It was damaged by lightning and earthquakes, and over time all marble seats and decorative materials disappeared.
Colosseum is a spectacular ruin that became a symbol of Rome. As mentioned before, the best way to experience Colosseum is to get a full experience ticket. It is valid for 2 days and besides Colosseum also includes Forum Romanum and Palatine Hill.
Next to the Colosseum is one of the 3 surviving Roman triumphal arches. This one is dedicated to Emperor Constantine, the founder of Constantinople or modern-day Istanbul, for stopping the civil war in the Roman Empire.
For the best Rome experience, I made a list of my favorite tours and essential tickets available in the description below. But before you go to Rome, you should check my video about Rome travel tips available in the top right corner. Thanks for thumbs up and for watching, and see you next time.